This is volume 2 of Deep Chats with Dan Fitz and Amandus Zek. Help
Come
me.
on, say it. Say it, Dad. Do it.
Zaki Vicious. Come on, man. Come on, help me out here. Amandus Zaki Vicious.
That was close. That was close. Listen, nobody can pronounce my second name, so only my wife, so it's all good.
As much traveling as I've done, as much as I've tried to learn other languages, Spanish, Russian, Portuguese, Thai, and I still know little to none. My strong Melbourne Frankston accent really destroys any name with more than 1 or 2 syllables. So don't take it personally, mate. Seeing this, so I guess what's the short story with you? Because I had quite a few men who were intrigued about you because people think I'm this this anomaly, this unique case where, and for those of you who know me personally, I'm aware, not Mother Theresa, not perfect, but definitely better than the man I used to be. And the 2 questions that I get asked is why and how. I mean, obviously everyone wants to change and be better, whatever that means for them, but how do you do it, and how do you do it consistently, i.e. the only way you can attain anything is the long game.
Yeah. So you got some feedback from the last podcast that we did.
Well, I think men like to set limitations on themselves. They see some Instagram model and think, I can't ever look like that. I mean, that is very deceiving. The lighting, the filters, the quality of the camera, the added training supplements, all that kind of thing, depending on the person. But your life as a whole isn't this one perfect picture. It's even the best lives can be a mess. Even the best lives have a good and a bad side. And when I look at someone like you, and you're not covered in tattoos, you don't have an incredibly rough accent, for the most part, I wouldn't judge you based on the way you look. But when you tell me about yourself, when you tell me about your past, a whole new level of respect and understanding opened up for me. I mean, because I lived that life. But also, I think this is what qualifies you to be able to give advice with, particularly with what you do. I mean, the stuff that we've shared this week, I guess the wins that we had this week, if I told myself that 10 years ago, I would have been 23. I mean, even counting back by 10 is a bit of a struggle for me. If I told myself 10 years ago, this is what I'd be doing, I would say, well, you're no good with numbers, didn't pass high school, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, that's the truth, but these limitations that are in most men's way, and I guess I'm trying to get you to tell me yours. That's, it's a really long way of saying, what are your fucking limitations, or what did they used to be, and how did you deal with them? Because when I talk to the camera the way that I do now, I mean, it seems like I have it all figured out, and I don't. But what I do talk about, I well and truly have an understanding of. But every fucking man goes through it. I mean, that's the deal.
Yeah. I mean, for myself, I think, and I think you'll feel the same. When you overcome so many things in your life, right? So many challenges that you really, at some stages, you never even thought you would overcome. And both of us have. I think that shows you how much you're capable of, just mentally wise. So when you do overcome, you know, you pull yourself out of that deep hole which whatever it is, you know, financial debt, debt, mental health issues, you know, some addictions that we both experienced, you kind of do see yourself, oh, well, maybe I can do more in my life. That's kind of what it was for me, you know, when I pulled myself out and my mental health was being more stable, more consistently, you know, I was kind of like, okay, I'm feeling much better now than I did for years. Where can I go now? Where can I keep improving? And I think that's one of the biggest thing. I think if you don't like aim for something more, and you know, you want to improve, you're slowly gonna go back to where you where you were. You know what I mean? I think it's you constantly improving on whatever it is. I mean, your mental health, your physical health, your relationship with your kids, with your wife, with your girlfriend, with your business, your money, whatever it is. If you don't set some goals and you know, dream about reaching certain level in any of them areas, procrastination sets in. You know what I mean? And many other things as negative as procrastination. And I think you almost go back in steps. Like that's what it felt like for me. So
I do that now. I don't know about you, but when I'm not setting crazy ass goals, or at the very least things that just kind of excite me.
yeah.
I was talking to one of the guys in the DFP. Why did I stop drinking? And then also kind of to the extreme where, I mean, if I have to, or there's a deadline or something like that, Saturday night, I'll commit to what I need to do versus watch Netflix because I'm allowed to, or it's my little reward. And I thought, oh, yeah, fuck, how did I become that man that thought it was his God-given right to get drunk Friday, Saturday night? And I thought that was fair because my life was hard or life was tough. And I think you adopted my catchphrase, don't be a pussy. And back then I was a pussy. Even now I'm a fucking pussy because I've got the perspective of not just meeting people online, but in my travels where I meet Uber drivers in Mexico or people picking up recycling rubbish in Thailand. I mean, I like to have conversations with people best I can. And these people are more often than not happier than most men in the West, or these people more often than not, if you gave them our opportunities, they'd fucking take it and run with it. And when I got to see that, that really stopped me from complaining and talking shit and that kind of thing. I mean, at least to myself. Because that does happen. Even now it's easy to fucking do shit on a good day. It's easy to be motivated on a good day. It's easy to fucking do all these things that you need to do on the good days. But it's on the bad days, like you said, you go backwards. And that's what I've been trying to figure out. That's what I've been trying to hijack, not just setting a goal like a bodybuilding competition and you work hard for 6 months out of the year and then fucking do nothing for 6 months. I thought, how do I get control, or for the most part be slightly better than how I was last year or the year before? And it was shifting my perspective. And I mean, I get it, not everyone's as fortunate as me and able to travel and do these kinds of things, but I think it's fair to understand and say there's many, many different ways to change your perspective, like this conversation, for example.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what it was that you asked initially when we started talking. Was it overseas travel or?
Yeah, I just asked you about what's it like living in Thailand.
Yeah. Mate, that's all I've done my whole life. When I saw someone that had what I wanted, I just said, how did you get it? And tell me how, or do I need to pay you, or how many hours, or whatever it was, because it's generally expensive, isn't it? I mean, these goals, these dreams, like whether it's financially or not, do you want to sit on the computer on Saturday night? Do you want to be in the gym on Saturday night? And if you don't, like, that's cool. But if you're depressed or you have anxiety, like, lying to yourself, I believe, makes that whole scenario 10 times worse. It's like, I want to be a bodybuilder, but I don't want to not party on Saturday night. Well, don't say it then. Like, that's pretty fucking easy, isn't it? But I think we feel as men like we have to be great, or we have to be tough, or we have to not be pussies. But I think simply not being a pussy is just doing what you say and being who you want to be. But that's pretty tricky to figure out.
Yeah, but you only figure out through the process, though, isn't it? I mean, you have, like, that's what we were saying, like, changing your perspective and changing your beliefs and everything that going forward, right? You can only do them by doing things that you never did, or thinking a certain way that you never did, right? Because once you begin doing that, at the start, I think it's the hardest, because you don't want to go to them areas in your life mentally thinking, who the fuck I want to be as a man. You know what I mean? What dreams and goals do I want to achieve? You know what I mean? What especially even before you have kids, you're thinking, where do I put myself when I do have kids? And now if I have my kids and I have my wife or whatever, how can I improve around me, right? How can I have a better life around me?
That was an interesting reference point that you told me about when you met your wife. You said she was attracted to you at your worst. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
How'd you pull that off?
I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I always said it. I'm still surprised to this day that she stayed with me. But Linda's one of them people that, first of all, she's fucking strong as hell. Mentally, she's a very, very strong woman. And second, she's that type of woman that when she gets something in her head, she puts something in her head, and if she believes it, just 1%, if she believes just 1% that she can do it, then she'll fucking fight for that 2%, 3%, and 4%, and 5%. You know what I mean?
Mm.
That's exactly what it was with me. She told me she seen potential in me. I told her about my life, and even the certain things I was doing at that moment when I met her, it scared her. But I was in the streets, I was selling drugs, I was taking drugs, I was, I don't know what I mean, I was around certain people. I wasn't doing anything good in my life, and she could see that. She could read the potential in me, that wasn't just me. She could see that there's more to me than just that, and she, if that was just me as a result of my environment, which what we all are, right? We're all a result of our environment. So she believed if she can help me change certain things in my life, I can live up to that greater potential that she sees in me. And then she made me
use her belief in you until your own self-belief kicked in.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have very little belief. Even now, like, I'm not perfect. I mean, there's a lot of still things I struggle with mentally, and sometimes, yeah, I really lack belief and confidence in myself. But that just means I have to work harder. I have to put more work behind the craft and the skill and the research or whatever I'm doing to build that confidence, right? I have to put in the time to build that confidence and that belief in myself. So, but that's just like with anything. But yeah, I mean,
you say
really,
like every man knows that, like it's a fact. That's the mindset, the belief that I'm trying to vocalize out loud, because I remember being that man. It's like, I can't do that because of this, or I can't do that because of this. And it's like, well, that's cool, but why don't you just not say that and do it? Like, why don't you try that out, see how it goes for you?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think men are they do lack so much belief in themselves.
Man,
You know?
I did and do, just like you said, and from my upbringing a little bit and from my own decisions, but people say to me all the fucking time in person on these videos, it's like, oh, you're so confident. I wish I was like you. And I said, well, how do you know that? Oh, you just look confident. I said, isn't that interesting? Because self-esteem, confidence, those kind of things, like, stopped me from doing what I could have done many years ago. Like you said, I had to believe in other people's belief in me until my own self-belief kicked in. And even now, it's still a little bit behind the rest of the deal.
Yeah, yeah. But that's the power of the community, even the DFP, right? If you can put people, you know, men in particular, in that environment where everyone's thriving off each other, everyone's, you know, vibing off each other,
yeah,
you can build a powerful team, right?
That's that another tough guy misconception where it's like, I can do it on my own. It's like, well, why haven't you fucking done it then? I don't know.
There's no even need to do that. Like, I think when you say I'm going to do it on my own, like, I mean, you're going to have to do everything on your own regardless, right? You still have, that responsibility is on you anyway. You're going to have to do everything on your own. But I don't think you have to say, like, I'm doing it on my own. I don't need nobody around me. Like, I don't need
I
no
think
support.
that's what people say, but then their kids become their personal assistants. Their wife becomes their therapist. And before they know it, the very things that they're working these 2 jobs and doing all this shit for, it's not there, let alone fucking looking and feeling healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your, like, mission for men, like?
Here's the thing, I thought it kept changing over the years, but it was just getting more specific. I mean, at first, I just didn't want people to experience parts of my life that I did, i.e. living with an alcoholic or being one yourself, or being around domestic violence, or just shitty things that come from a lack of education, self-love and self-awareness. So I started with the physical, I started with the fitness, and I just wanted to help everyone. Very tiring if you've ever done that in the fitness industry. Just wanted to help everyone, wanted to work with everyone, having the best intentions. I think a lot of people do this, have the best intentions, they want to save the world, and they just fucking, they hit a wall, boom, and they stop. And they become just like everyone else. Oh, yeah, I tried to do what you're doing, but like, it's too fucking hard. Or you'll see in 10 years, like I used to be like you, but now like I'm all bitter and jaded and I just tick the boxes in my government job. And it's like, well, that's cool. So I thought, instead of becoming these people, instead of burning myself out, which I've almost come close to many times, I'm like, what gives me the juice, as I talk about? And I don't mean getting juiced up. I mean that juice in life where it's like, you can work that little bit longer. You can go that little bit harder. You can face pain and humiliation without really worrying about it too much because you know why you're doing it. Versus, I use this fucking example all the time to prove to men or to show men how much they truly want it. And let's say there's a pretty girl at the bar and it's like, I know her, or I went and spoke to her for you and she's very interested in speaking to you. Over you go. Oh, I don't want to. You just told me 5 minutes ago you did. That's why I went over there. She's interested. Off you go. Oh, no. So I basically clear the pathway for them on whatever they want, and then they still need to do something, but you truly see how much you want it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it takes a long time for men to come to that decision that, like, I need to do certain things, you know?
Well, that's why I created that phrase. I mean, I didn't create the term pussy. It's internationally known. I mean, Russian, Thais, Americans, Mexicans, I haven't really experienced too many cultures where people don't know what that means. Fun fact, my last name means pussy in Swedish.
Right. Fit?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, it's fitar, I think, but I mean, close enough. I don't want to put men down. I don't want to be mean, but when you relate to that word, when you resonate to that word, and you know you wouldn't say shit to me in person if I said you're a pussy, but I am. The idea of that is to be like, fuck it. Like, I'm tired of this. It's supposed to be like the tipping point that gets you to take action. It's supposed to be, my wife hates me, my kids hate me, I drink too much, my life sucks, and now I got this fucking idiot calling me a pussy. Like, that's it. I'm doing this. Like, it's not supposed to be something that's negative. It's supposed to be the tipping point that gets you to change. I mean, for the most part, it does. So.
Because if you say it to a man, like if you said it to me, like, don't be a fucking pussy, like, I would be like thinking, like, me personally, like if I just ask myself this question now, I'm thinking like, what can I not be a pussy about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I can put in more hours working, you know, maybe I can eat less shit so I can have a six pack, you know, that kind of way. It's like, okay.
Well, I do the same things with myself. If I haven't done something for 3 months, 6 months, I mean, for whatever reason, for whatever excuse, I look at the truth and it's like, Dan, are you going to fucking stop being such a pussy? Like, holy fuck. It's to challenge the other person. It's to challenge yourself. And I don't mean in a masculine, tough guy way, like I can fucking do anything and I'm not afraid of anything. It's like, well, I haven't done it because I'm afraid. Afraid of what? Afraid of, let's say, judgment. It's like, well, okay, do you think if you stay where you are for the next 10 years, you're going to get judged? Probably. So what are you more afraid of, failing or staying where you are? Staying where I am. Let's go. But if it's just that whole, I'm not a fucking pussy, nothing bothers me, it's like, well, cool. Enjoy your life then. But if you're like 80% of society, you're probably not.
That's the thing. That's the problem, I think, with most men. They're conditioned by the society. You know what I mean? And it's so easy. It's so easy to get conditioned by the society. And one of the things is the fear of judgment, right? It's not living your life in terms of, I don't give a fuck. I just do whatever the fuck I want, whatever I wish to do. I'm just going to do it. And I think many men lack that so much, like reaching that level of freedom, but they just don't give a fuck.
The crazy fucking thing was, and I'm not sure if you had this, but I'm going to assume so, like, I had it at a young age, except I let it take me in the wrong direction. I didn't give a fuck. But instead of using that attitude to start a business or to do something that would also be great if I didn't give a fuck about things, I allowed that lack of fear or lack of what people thought of me to, man, just drift me in the fucking wrong direction. Then I had to come all the way back. And then by the time I got back, that's when the self-esteem, the lack of confidence, the self-awareness, because I'm like, fuck, like not only have I gone all the way in that direction, I come all the way back here now, and by like standards of where a man should be, not even close.
Yeah. I'm getting flashbacks of the movie Bronx Tale. Did you ever see the movie Bronx Tale with Robert De Niro in it?
I don't think I've seen it, but I mean, is it a gangster film?
Unlike gangster film, it was made in 1993, I think.
Yeah, well, any Robert De Niro gangster film, they're all about the same, but tell me the lesson in the movie.
This one was particularly very, very good. I can't remember the first time I seen this. I was maybe around like 12 or 13, but I've seen this movie, I say minimum 10 times over the years, right? I haven't seen it in the last couple of years, but in my teenage years, I watched it a lot. And there was a part in the movie where Robert De Niro's kid, he grows up from a kid to, he's an adult now, and he becomes a good friends with the mafia leader in the community, right? Because when he was younger, he was put in a position to testify a murder, and he didn't testify as a kid, right? So as he grew up, the mafia boss gave him a lot of respect. They became friends, and so forth, right? And there was a part in the movie where the kid he's grown up now. His name was Calogero, right? He was chasing a guy who owed him $20, and the mafia boss, seeing him chasing the guy, he called him over and he said, "What's the problem?" He said, "This guy owes me $20. He's been dodging me for weeks, you know." He said, "Listen," he said, "for $20, you got rid of this guy out of your life. That's it." He said, this is cheap. You know, you don't have to do stress. You don't have to do nothing about it. You don't have to worry about this guy anymore. He's out of your life. You know? And there was a part of the movie where he wanted to do certain things, but he was afraid to do it. Like, especially back in 1993, he was an Italian guy. He wanted to date a black girl. And he was afraid of the judgment of his own friends, of the community, of his parents. And the mafia boss said, "Listen, nobody cares." And that stuck in my head. Nobody cares. He said, "Nobody cares." He said, "At the end of the day, whatever happens is going to be you and her in bed at night, nobody else. So whatever you do in your life, you got rid of this guy for $20. You don't have to deal with him anymore. You want to date a black girl. You want to do this. You want to do that. At the end of the day, nobody cares. It's your life. It's how you feel when you go to sleep at night in bed with your woman. Nobody cares." And that's saying, when he says nobody cares, has always stayed in my head since that age. So even when I met Linda or met certain people, they're telling me some story, and I say, "Listen, but nobody cares. Nobody cares. Do your thing, do your shit, do what makes you happy, because nobody cares at the end of the day."
Well, that's the
You know what I
thing.
mean?
I don't, unless someone asks for my help or wants me to hold them accountable, I couldn't give a fuck what anyone does. I don't really judge people too much, or unless someone's bothering me personally, I try and leave people alone and just let them do their thing. I would appreciate the same thing in return in my life, but the fucking crazy thing is, doing what I do now, people do care. I mean, sometimes they don't like you. Sometimes they say they don't like you. Sometimes it's the people closest to you. Nobody cares. You can choose not to care as well. You can choose not to care what people's opinions, thoughts, and feelings are of you. I mean, if you're robbing banks and murdering kittens, I mean, probably need to get your shit in check if it's not already too late to change someone like that. But if you're starting, let's say, a gardening business, and for whatever reason people don't like you, your inner peace, your self-worth, that's the shit that's priceless. And if you do want to impress people, and you do want to give value to the world, and you do care about the people that you care about, family, friends, whoever the fuck they are, by protecting your inner peace and your self-worth, that'll always be the greatest gift to the people closest to you, whether you're listening to their advice or not, whether you're going against their opinion or not, if that's easy to understand.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you're going to do anything in your life, you're going to have people telling you certain things anyway. They're going to tell you their opinions. They're going to tell you their perspectives. They're going to tell you their beliefs. And it's okay to listen to them, but make a decision based off what's in line with where you want to go, right? Because if you told me you're a certain perspective or belief or opinion, I will look at it and say, would that perspective bring me closer to where I want to go? You know what I mean? And it's easy to tell because you have to recognize your own perspective. you know, how you see certain things, and then you compare with someone else's perspective.
Were you a
You
little
ask,
fearful when we traded information on, I guess, crypto and Forex, and when we, I guess, changed philosophies on, I guess you borrowed mine for a little bit. Did you have an initial fear because it was something new?
not really. No, I wouldn't say really fear. It was more of an interest.
Yeah.
I can't really say it's a fear.
So I think you asked me this week, like, how do you not have fear about doing this stuff? Or how do you not have fear about letting things ride, so to speak? Whether that's investing in yourself, or which is the best investment you can make, or a trade, a house, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But your mistakes and your failures can be the very things you use as your strength. And I think back to Melbourne when I used to get annihilated, and I would put $500 on 23 red because it was my lucky number. And you get a pretty good feeling for that brief time where, spoiler alert, it's very hard to win picking one number. But that feeling, if I could let $500 ride on something that I had fucking no control over, the things that I can control now, I don't have too much fear about.
See, it sounds like you're good at, what's the word? Trusting the process, which what I struggle with. I struggle with that. I'm not gonna lie. I do struggle with trusting the process in many things. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not so much just trusting the process. You got to also be able to call yourself on your shit, or you got to be able to make sure you're doing what's required, because it's very easy to do the fucking bare minimum to not get fired at a job, particularly if it's something that requires the bare minimum. But goals, dreams, happiness, success, I mean, if no one's ever told you, it's fucking hard, it's fucking scary, and for the most part, it doesn't change ever. Like, you just get pretty good at dealing with it. And when I need to do more, or I have to do more, or there's, I guess, challenges or adversity in front of me, and I don't want to face it, or I don't want to look at it, I mean, that's not a good idea either, because it just makes things a whole lot worse, as you probably figured out as a man. I just think about things that have scared the absolute fuck out of me in the past, or things that I've done in the past, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty crazy. Or, well, you did that, so this should be pretty easy. I mean, it's not foolproof, but it's better than just looking at what's in front of you and seeing it like this fucking gigantic mountain that you'll tackle tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's the thing, people, we get way too ahead of the process, right? I mean, the first hardest thing to do is to start anything, right? It's just to start. You know, you're not happy in your job, you have to get a new job, or you want to start a business. Something to do, you know, you have to work on your health. You have to work on your relationships, right? The hardest thing is to start. So from all your experience, where will men be able to pull that within them? You know, is it
I said something quite controversial the other day. It was probably every day I do that, but someone applied for my program, but then he also said he's at rehab, or he's about to do rehab. And I said, well, mate, what do you want from me? Like, you're already doing something. Like, why do you need something else? Or I can't remember what made me want to say it. I didn't say it directly to him, but he saw me mention it on my page, and I said, rehab is for quitters. just like you quit everything else in your life, like your goals and your dreams and just doing shit. Something like that, to paraphrase. I mean, I get it why it's offensive. It's like when I say to people, if you wanted to kill yourself, you would have done it, but you're just depressed. I mean, there's a big difference. Because I know the success rate of rehab. It's very low, and it's really a wasted life just counting the days you don't fuck up. And I know myself, like, although I don't like to drink, I don't live this fucking life of sobriety where I'm just counting the days that I'm fucking perfect. I just do what I feel like doing based on what it is that I want. And that sounds like I shouldn't do anything wrong, or I should only do good things, or I should be this perfect man. But then, one, I would be living a lie. And two, I don't want to teach that to other men, because I do truly believe it's a fucking miracle that I could turn things around from where I got them to, and then also want to actually help people and not be bitter and jaded at life, what it dealt me. So I'm going to take the risk, and instead of being like the Instagram models and the other people in my industry where it's like you see their Sunday morning and like they're prepping their meals, and every Sunday it's just like that, and everything's perfect, and there's no darkness, and there's no, like, I don't want to paint an illusion that you get to this level of perfection. I don't want to, I mean, I could paint my life much better than it is. I could paint my life as perfect and I never do anything wrong. I mean, I got myself into a lot of trouble in 2018 for that very thing. I wasn't perfect, but I mean, you probably know the story. I got myself at the risk of my business, at the risk of money, at wanting to help people just not experience what I did. I ended up getting into trouble because I wasn't perfect. And I get what I was doing, but here's the fucking thing, like, off the camera, behind the scenes, no one's perfect. I just fucking have the balls to say it.
Yeah. But do you see yourself as you can constantly improve on all the things in your life?
It depends what you want, and that's the deal. I mean, you can do whatever you want with your life. I mean, if you want to go sit in a monastery and never do any work and never look at the internet and never leave that monastery, and you go sit up in the hills and you find fucking enlightenment, I mean, do you really have to improve like your financial awareness? Do you really have to improve like relationship skills if you're just sitting in a temple fucking meditating the rest of your life? Probably not. I mean, you'll become an expert at that, but everything else you're probably going to be a bit not great, not perfect. So I think, and I get it, like there's this common trend where it's like, just upgrade your shit, like everything across the board, like just become a fucking beast in business and a beast in the bedroom and a beast in the gym, and you have no weaknesses and you have no, I think what it is that I'm trying to say, I mean, you don't need to focus on your strengths too much. I mean, we all know what they are. I mean, men will tell you, oh, I won the grand final in 1995 or fucking this, all that. It's like, well, that's cool. What are you doing now? I think the key to improving all areas is to just simply know what those areas are that could possibly improve if you want them to. I mean, it's okay to drink a bottle of wine over the weekend by everyone's standards. I think that's pretty fair to say. It's okay to drink a bottle of wine over the weekend. When does it become not okay? Is it a bottle a day? Is it 2 bottles a day? I mean, I'm not going to tell you. That's your decision. You can do what the fuck you want. But I mean, if you're a truck driver and you're drinking a bottle of wine before you drive your truck every day, it's going to become a problem. And that's all I simply see life as. I mean, sure, I'd love to be this fucking millionaire, playboy, philanthropist, like just doing all this great shit who's perfect. I mean, if I could do that, great, that'd be good. But I'm just playing the cards and being dealt best I can. So I'm not going to bullshit people and say that I'm perfect or I'm going to attain perfection or, I mean, I'm a very good fucking coach, very good speaker. The DFP has pulled off some fucking miracle work. But it just shows you every level there's another devil. I mean, you get fit and healthy, but you realize you lack confidence talking to people. You have financial success, but then that kind of takes you away from your family. Like every level there's going to be another devil, and that's the beautiful thing about life.
Yeah, that brings me back to what I said, especially from the life we come from. If you don't, there's always, like you said, there's another devil to the next level, right? It's constant improve, right? It's constant improve. And what's helped me particularly live my life a certain way that I do now and improve certain areas in my life is to really see everything that I do. Does it bring me closer? Does it bring me closer to that, to where I want to be in certain area of my life, you know?
That's basically what you said to me about, I don't want to tell people how to live. And this is what men get so triggered at. It's like, don't tell me how to think and how to speak, and don't tell me I just have to do fitness. And I fucking never said that. But do you base your decisions around your main goal? I mean, is this going to make my relationship better or worse? Is this going to make my body better or worse? I mean, the answers are right in front of you. It's being able to do the actions around the answer. That's the tricky part.
Yeah. Yeah, it's having the discipline, isn't it? It's, I think, having the discipline to actually do it. That's where it becomes most difficult. And yeah, most of the time for myself, I do have the discipline. You know what I mean? Some days, yeah, I lack that discipline. And
so how'd you get it? Was it from your beautiful wife or fiance? I can't remember what you said. Was it from her, or did you read the discipline book?
No, I didn't read the discipline book. It was more like, yeah, it was, you know, that's the guy I was telling you about before. Your man is, his name is Jocko Wilkinson or something, right?
Oh yeah, that dude's a fucking beast. But even then, like, many women wouldn't call him a perfect man, or many, even some men would be like, oh yeah, he's fucking tough and he's elite and he gets shit done, but you wouldn't say he's perfect. He's just excelled in being a fucking absolute beast.
Well, that's what he says. He speaks about discipline equals freedom. So that's something that I try to create my perspective and belief around. I do have things to do in my relationship, in my business, in my health. I know that if I be disciplined in these areas, I would also have freedom from these areas. My business is going well. I'm not going to have the stress of not making money or progressing. That's freedom. I'm not going to have my wife complaining about me doing certain things. That's going to be freedom. My health is going to be healthy. I don't have any conditions. That's going to be freedom, right? But it's to obtain that discipline day in and day out. It's, yeah, some days it's challenging, like you were said. Some days are very easy. I jump out of bed at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm ready to rock and roll. And some days I want to sleep until 6 or 7 because I don't feel.
What do you do in those scenarios? Do you say to yourself, "Don't be a pussy," and like you just get up and do it monotonously, or you kind of read the cards a little bit and be like, "Fuck, I've done this 14 days straight. Like I'm gonna take it easy."
Yeah, most of the time I'm like, just keep going, just keep going. But some days I almost listen to myself or my body for my mental health a little bit. I switch off, you know. So
Well,
this,
it's hot as shit here, so I felt like drinking some of this sexy no sugar orange Coke. And being in the
yeah,
fitness industry and portraying that image for so long, I remember I would go on, fuck, this is a long time ago, but I would go on rants about how bad aspartame, I think they still use in here, how bad the sugar-free stuff is and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, Dan, like, you're just making it harder for people. Like, I was doing a lot worse shit than sugar-free Coke back in the day. Like, if this is the worst thing I do today, then I think that's okay.
yeah. But it's also education on that. I know the sweeteners. I know what it's like. Sweeteners much better, 10 times better than having 10 or 20 grams of sugar run into your bloodstream, right?
Yeah.
So,
Well, I don't know if you're calling me out for putting sugar in my coffee, trying to get that off the radar.
yeah, I use tablets. I just use tablets. My alerts are going off for Chainlink and another cryptocurrency.
Are they good alarms or bad alarms?
Oh, the good alarms.
Yeah.
The XTZ. I think it's Zetos or Tezo.
Yeah.
Seems like it's for crypto to get in as well. So,
What are your thoughts on that one? You think that's a volcano?
I think what happened was, when I'm looking at it from my own reading, because cryptocurrency is still very similar. The movements of the market, where I've noticed, is still very similar to the forex. Most analysis and technical analysis and market structure and the rest is still very, very similar to the cryptocurrency movements. But I find it more, cryptocurrency is more on a larger time frame, right? It's so much more easier to trade or make money on cryptocurrency on a larger time frame. So you're looking at almost like weekly and daily and 4-hour time, right? Which forex for me personally is the opposite. I'm like short term. I get in and get out. I can be in a trade for 5 minutes and I made my money for the day, sometimes even for the week. You know what I mean? So what I see here on this particular currency, which is, yeah, is it Zetos or Tezos? XTZ, you know?
It's got a blue logo. It's, again, my accent is going to destroy the pronunciation, mate, so appreciate that. It should have a blue logo, I believe, from memory.
Yeah. I'm just going to have full look. Yeah, Tezos. Yeah, it's called Tezos.
Yeah,
So
I think that was going to blow up. For those who don't know what we're talking about, real entrepreneurs or people that have learned how to hustle, you always find a way, very challenging period in time for many people to make money. We're actually talking about online trading in cryptocurrencies. Probably foreign as me trying to understand another language for some of you, but reason why we brought it up was it's your main income. And I mean, I'm not going to deny myself the ability to make a bit of money here and there from simple discipline and understanding of what's going on there. I mean, like I said, what's right or wrong, that's your decision. But if you want freedom and you want to do things your way, I would suggest knowing what you know, knowing what I know. Excuse me, and then being able to apply it over time. It's like getting a program from the guy at the gym, and it's like, yeah, great, boom, stick it on the fridge. But if you don't fucking do it, like, it's worthless.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's we are kind of entrepreneurs, so we're open to the opportunities, right? Which most people, if you're not in this space, especially like, you know, self-development and freedom and entrepreneurism or whatever, business, whatever, it's harder to be that way, right? It's harder to be open your mind to different opportunities because you're so stuck in your own head, right? When you were working 9 to 5 job, you were just stuck in your own head because you're just working 9 to 5 job. And listen, if you're happy in your 9 to 5 job and you're doing whatever you want to do and you're happy, then you already won at the game of life, right? But you're winning anyway. But if you're kind of in your stuck your job and there's something there telling you, the little voice that we have in our head, you know, you can do more, you can do more. You know, there's
That's the
something more
thing,
than
mate. Most men have gotten so used to fucking denying their emotions and denying their feelings that by the time they come to you looking for financial freedom, by the time they come to me just saying I'm fucked, like, it's not too late, but the signs were there all along. When you have like a minor anxiety attack, fucking driving to work, or when you feel like drinking again, second, third, fourth night in a row, when you don't really feel like drinking, you just don't want to feel anything. Like, these feelings are there not because life is hard. It's meant to push you in the direction that you're here to go. But unless you have a shitload of self-esteem, self-respect, finances, and someone guiding you, which almost no men have, it's very hard to do. But if, like you and me, shit was just so bad, it's like, well, I know what hell is and I can live here. I don't want to live here, but I know what it is. Might as well go give other things a shot.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I've people reached down to me who are going through certain periods of their life, and they do see me and they know a lot of my story, and you know, they tell me this. They see me a certain way, that yeah, I've overcome a lot of things, and a lot of things are very common in most people's lives. You know what I mean? Like mental health issues, addiction, domestic violence, crime, all this stuff, right? Your finances not so good. It's a lot of, like, these are main issues that we have in the world, right? Put the rest of the crazy bullshit aside. This is what we have in our lives. This is the struggle that we have in our lives. And yeah, people reach out and we just talk. You know what I mean? And that's
man, I know what you mean. Like, that's been my gift and my curse my whole life. People will tell me anything that I want to know. I mean, in regards to helping them these days, they'll just tell me the truth and the darkest shit and the stuff they've been meaning to tell someone for years. I mean, that's given me the ability to help men in a way that no one's been able to help them. But it's also difficult, I guess, kind of reliving or hearing that shit time and time again. But like you fucking said, it's so common. Like, it's so common. Like, whatever label you want to stick on it, abuse, depression, anxiety, fear, like, particularly this year of all years, like, it's your best friend, your dad. Like, so if you called someone and you just pressed them a little bit, like, you probably find out something you didn't know. And generally, sometimes not in a good way.
Well, like you said, especially this year, as far as I know, the suicide has gone up by 200%.
Now, they don't talk about that. It's like, oh, I've got to save lives by just fucking killing everyone.
Yeah. And
antipsychotic drugs, antidepressant drugs, gone through the roof. And they do more damage to the human mind and body than marijuana, but they're accepted. And this is something that I do have the courage to speak about these days, and I do share with people. I mean, I smoked a fucking joint on a Facebook Live on Christmas Day. I did. But I was in America where it was legal, so there was nothing wrong with what I was doing because it's legal. And I was having a great time. I mean, I was in America alone on Christmas Day. I mean, I was having a great time.
it does baffle me. It does baffle me though that how certain people look at marijuana and they're having their bottle of wine and a cigarette in their hand. Do you know what I mean? It's like the cigarette in your hand and the bottle of fucking drink, whatever you have, has 100% higher chance of you killing it than me smoking this marijuana.
Yeah.
Every 1 in 2 smokers will die of smoking related disease. 1 every 3 like regular drinkers will die of a drinking related disease. Do you know what I mean?
Oh man, you're preaching to the converted. Like that's what I still struggle to get my head around. Like I had so many people saying to me like, I can't believe you're doing that on Christmas Day. Like that's not very healthy. Or like, I'm like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing today apart from binge eating, binge drinking and hanging out with your family who you fucking avoided all year? Like what's better about your day?
That's so funny, isn't it? But but they will never realize until they call the out on that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I'll call them out. That's the thing. Like, I call them out and they're like, oh, you don't know me, Dan. No, clearly I don't.
I'm just like same. I had someone telling me, oh, well, why do you smoke weed? Because I smoke weed. And, I don't smoke weed every day, but I still, blaze up every now and then. And I don't drink. I'm not a regular drinker. I wouldn't even drink. I don't have on my plan. I'm gonna have a drink this week. I don't have such things. I'm not gonna have a drink this month. I don't have such things. If it's a birthday, if it's a special occasion, I'll go to someone, to some whatever is a party. I'll have a drink. But I would never have a drink on my mind. Cigarettes, I don't smoke. I don't smoke cigarettes. I put as little as possible in the joint that I'm rolling. Little bit of tobacco. You know what I mean? And drugs. Drugs don't exist in my life anymore. I've been clean 3.5 years of all hard drugs: ecstasy, cocaine, meth, amphetamine, right, speed. I've been clean of all this, so I think I'm doing good in my life. You know what I mean? And I have people telling me who drink and smoke or whatever else they do, stuff their face with fucking the most processed food you can ever imagine, right? And they're telling me, why do I smoke weed? Please.
Well, we answered it in about 30 minutes ago where you said no one cares. But as a culture and as a society, we've been conditioned to all care about the same things and also care about the wrong things. Like I said about being illegal in America, flip the script. Like it's not illegal, so all of a sudden became okay for some people. Or you only have to go to a certain culture or country for, sometimes alcohol is fucking illegal, or certain things that are considered normal are now not. And it's like, it's not that what I'm doing is good or bad. This is just what we've been conditioned to believe. Like money is equal, or all these things.
Yeah, it's judgment. I think we live in a day of age when there's so much judgment going around. And how I've been living my life is, if I live in a mindset of like, I don't give a fuck what other people are judging me, right? I look at myself in the mirror and I tell myself what I expect from myself, right? Armo, you're not doing this, you're not doing this. You need to be fucking doing more of this or whatever, right? I judge myself, so I don't have time to judge anybody else. First of all, I don't give a fuck what other people think about me. I do my thing. Second of all, I judge myself. And third of all, my energy and time is already consumed. I got no time to judge anybody else. Unless you start hopping on my shit, I'm gonna judge the shit out of you. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have a debate. But other than that, do we as men look ourselves in the mirror to see who we really are before judging our brother beside us? You know what I mean?
That was the most painful and hardest lesson for me and all the guys in the DFP to understand. Like, your belief system, what you believe, like the same way we all probably believed in the fucking Easter Bunny at one stage.
Still do.
It's like, do you do that now? No. There you go. You can change it. Your beliefs can cause so many fucking problems in your life if you don't have the courage to look at them, question them, challenge them, and maybe even change them if you need to, instead of mindlessly defending them.
Yeah, challenge them. Yeah, you have to challenge them. You have to be more open. I don't know. Some people are just so shut down here. You know, they're so conditioned. You know what I mean? That, and I think as long as you're conditioned, like the longer you're conditioned, you know, as you get older and older and older, right? You're in your 20s, you hit your 30s, you hit your 40s. It becomes harder, right? It's like anything. It's like an addict. If you're the longer you're addicted, the lower your life expectancy becomes. So you're kind of you're playing with fire a little bit. You know what I mean? Because you could be 1 year of damage being conditioned a certain way can last for the next 5-10 years, and that's just 1 year. You know what I mean? You condition yourself a certain way for the next 5-10 years. And listen, I understand. I know how it works. Our subconscious mind, right? The most important years of our lives is between we are born and 66 years of age, right? These are the years that we get most conditioned. But as we grow up, you know, you're going from 6 to 12, from 12 to 18. Now you look at yourself, you're like, okay, I'm an adult now. I'm an 18-year-old man. It doesn't matter how you feel. You can still feel like a fucking teenager or a boy or immature, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. That is your life path. But now you're 18. Now you're in a position here to take some responsibility and undo all the shit that just happened before you're 18. Question all the shit that happened before you're 18. Trying to find a meaning, what the fuck happened in the last 18 years of my life that has brought me here now. Right? That's what I did. I did at 21. And that's, I think, the goal. I think we need to catch these people at young age, because the biggest success rate is at a young age, right? Between, I can say between whatever, even 16 to 30. I'm not saying that there's no hope for after 30. There's plenty of hope. Sky is the limit.
If you are a 30, 40, 50-year-old man watching this, and I think we'll open up this Pandora's box on the next episode, because it does involve death. It involves the death of you, and everyone wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. And that's the death of your belief system. That's the death of your old self. And like you said, particularly for old guys, I've been doing it this way for 20 years. Luckily for them, I respect them enough, and I have the courage enough to say, well, how's that fucking working out for you? Doesn't look good. Oh, it's not. Well, why don't you change then, you fuckhead? Because you can choose to change right now. Okay, yeah, I will. Good, there you go. That's easy. Now it's going to back it up for another 20 years. And that's it. Simple conversation. I mean, it was when I used to be, they call you a criminal when you break the law. When I used to be a criminal, people used to say to me, why don't you just not break the law? I'm like, well, I understand the concept. It's like when people are fat or people are depressed or people are all kinds of fucked up, maybe they're even breaking the law, but just not saying it. Like, why don't you just not be fat? Why don't you just fucking not be depressed? I mean, good thing for you guys. I'm a lot better coach than people used to say that to me. It's like, yeah, no shit. Like, we all know what to do, but it's like, why don't we do it? That's the gift. Got a question for you guys. If you watch this all the way through, you're obviously interested in changing. What do you believe? Like, what do you believe? And how's that fucking working out for you? I want you to look into freedom. I want you to look into, I guess, both what we do personally and professionally. Compare it to your life, compare it to what you want. And we'll give you the answers on the next episode. What do you reckon?
Definitely, we'll talk about more beliefs, perspective. Now, your beliefs and perspective shape your life right now, right? So
I don't think people can handle my beliefs. We can get them started on their own, though.
Yeah, but it's not even about them having our beliefs. It's about them constructing their own beliefs and their own perspective that they can understand, that they can, you know what I mean? They can actually understand what it is.
Yeah.
And then that just, I don't need your beliefs to improve my life. And I'm not saying that they don't, but like some of them do. But my beliefs already bring me, you know what I mean? They're already moving me in life. So I can just take on more on board or better my
Despite
ways.
my superficial appearance, I tried, or not tried, I did. I got control of my ego best I could many years ago. And as soon as I saw someone like you, for example, when you told me what you did, I'm like, tell me what you know. Like instantly, I'll challenge my beliefs instantly. And it's like, they match up. All right, that's got to go, or change that. Or no, you're all good here. Like, I'm not afraid of questioning and challenging things. But if you're going to question and challenge me, you motherfuckers, you better have all your chips in order. Like, you better know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember it being very hard as a man, particularly, I mean, getting taught how to train, going to Muay Thai gyms and realizing you're not the big dog anymore if you fucking ever were. But that's the best thing you can do to yourself. One piece of advice for these motherfuckers for watching 90 minutes of our madness. Where would you start? I would say work out what your beliefs are and they match up with what you want.
Exactly, yeah, your perspective, challenge how you see yourself, how you see the people around you, how you see the world, you know, everything. See if it makes sense to you. No, how you see yourself, how you people are you getting a little feeling, not even in your heart. Think about it obviously first with your brain, but what does the little feeling in your heart almost say? Is it right or wrong? You know what I mean? Is it more good or is it more bad, you know? Is it more positive or is it more negative? Which one is it? You know what I mean? You will find the answer. You will find the answer. You know.
Mr. Zakevicius, it's been a pleasure. I'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, brother.